Welcome to this video series on lighting fixtures for the stage. And in this unit, I just want to talk about some of the common fixtures that we use and some of their applications and what they're good for, what they're best used for, some alternate applications, and we'll just chat our way through. So the first thing is we'll just talk a little bit about what a light fixture is, what it does. Right, so essentially a light fixture is just gathering light from a source, i.e. a lamp of some kind, maybe it's an LED, but a lamp of some kind. It's gathering that light energy and it wants to aim it in a very specific direction, right? We want to point it towards the stage or towards a performer or a wall or a cyc or something, right? So the three essential parts of a stage light are the lamp, which produces the light, a reflector, which is designed to harness all of the rays of light that are coming off of the lamp and send them generally in one direction. And then a lens, and the lens is used to concentrate the beam. Of the three, the lens is sometimes optional, as we'll see when we get into some of the cyc light and some of the wash light fixtures. Right? So fixtures are named either for their lamp, their reflector, or their lens type. And adjusting the relationship between the reflector and the lamp and the lens alters the size of the beam of light as well as it can alter how soft or how crisp the edge of the beam of light is. Sometimes in order to change the size or shape of the beam requires actually changing the lenses. As in a source for par, to make it a larger pool of light, we actually have to change the lens. Or in a source for ERS, we would have to change the lens tube. There's that, right? So there's two basic, the most fundamental types of stage lighting fixtures are wash lights. A wash light is soft edge. It has very primitive beam shaping capabilities. Sometimes you can put things onto the front of it like a top hat or a barn door or something that can primitively affect the shape of the beam, but it's very primitive, right? It has very simple optics, and as such, with simple optics, they tend to be very efficient and therefore rather bright. They're good at generating or producing saturate colors. They make a wash or a pool of light and are relatively inexpensive. You know, $200 is a range. The other kind of lighting fixture is a spotlight. And spotlights are capable of focusing to a very sharp edge of light where there's no delineation or there's no gradation between where there is light and where there is dark. It's a very precise edge, right? This precision allows for very sophisticated beam shaping or shutters that are on an ERS that allow us to actually cut off of scenery or to shape a light into a specific space. Their optics are relatively complex. They definitely have optical lenses, and those lenses require a certain amount of precision. So therefore, they're a little less efficient. The more glass, the more lenses there are, the less efficient a fixture becomes, right? So they're less efficient. But they excel at throwing light long distances with very exacting control. Some spotlights can throw light hundreds of yards and be very precise. They tend to be expensive. You know, a normal source for ERS is in the $400, $450 range. Right, so let's look at some applications. Right, so just in this little concert rig that we see here, we have spotlights and wash lights. These lights that are producing these soft blue beams of light, these are wash lights, and they're just designed to cast a blanket of color over the stage. The spotlights are being used to produce these shafts of light, these tightly focused, right, concentrated and precise beams of light, and those would be spotlights. Here, let's look at another one. Right, so in this case, we can look back on the cyc and we can see that wash lights are being used to color the cyc in this dark blue. And then somewhere is a source 4, I'm almost positive. This is not a projection. This is a gobo, right? But a spotlight is being used to project a gobo of the moon, as well as it's producing this texture on the floor. Let's look at another example, right? So wash lights. Wash lights are coloring the background of this image, and a spotlight is being used to accent or call attention to our lead performer. And you'll notice that everything is nice and soft. There are really no real serious hard edges to anybody that's out here. We have some angle that's playing into this. But, generally things are pretty soft and blended together, right? So in this dance concert, we can see that the red light, the red that's spilling all over the performers and the floor here, this is being made by wash lights up here on these booms. And then spotlights are being used to cast this texture across the performer and the floor. And then there's a spotlight that is generating this pool, this accent, this color accent on this performer in the center, right? So wash lights, very few fixtures to light a full stage. We don't need as many. You'll note that the edges are very soft. You can't define an edge in this image anywhere, right? These just 4 very powerful lights, and you'll see that they just fill the air with light. It fills the space with light with just very few fixtures in a very saturated environment. And then over here you can see the spotlights, where it takes a lot of spotlights to cover the floor in red, and there's little dots of light, and there's texture, and then lots of shafts, very defined edges to both the beams of light as well as the pools of light on the floor. And you'll also note that this provides negative space in the air if we're lighting something through haze or through smoke, right? This sort of fills the air, whereas this is leaving negative space. And that's where I'll end this unit, and we'll pick up again in just a moment.